Cabinet of India has given its approval for an electoral reform bill. What this bill would do is that it would link your Aadhaar card with your voter IDs. The Election Laws Amendment Bill 2021, piloted by Law Minister Kiren Rijiju, has been already passed by both the houses of the Parliament. So what is this new bill? What does it include? And what does it mean for us? We will decode everything. The push to link Aadhaar with voter IDs is not new, and neither is the criticism from the opposition. The Election Commission had started linking the two in 2015. It had already completed the process for around 30 crore IDs when the initiative was stayed by the Supreme Court as part of a case about the constitutionality of Aadhaar card. The new bill allows election officers to seek the Aadhaar number of people who want to register as voters for the purpose of establishing the identity. The officers can ask for the Aadhaar number from people who are already enrolled in the list of voters for the purpose of checking and authentication of entries in the list of voters. This is also to identify registration of the names of the same person in the list of more than one constituency or more than once in the same constituency. A point to note here is that an Aadhaar card might not be mandatory. The government claims that other forms of ID will still be accepted, but only if a person gives a legitimate reason for being unable to produce an Aadhaar number in the first place. The government is considering major voting reforms based on the Election Commission's recommendations. These include reforms to make it easier for the first-time voters to enroll by allowing enrollments 4 times a year from one time that is currently happening. But the question is, why does the government want to link our Aadhaar with our voter ID? Well, the government is giving two major reasons behind this move. The government says that linking our Aadhaar with our voter ID will eliminate duplication of voter ID cards. This may be due to the frequent shifting of residence by voters and getting enrolled in a new place without deleting the previous enrollment. Multiple enrollments of the same person at different places has led to voter frauds in the past. Thus, the possibility of electors whose names appear in more than one electoral roll or at times more than once in the same electoral roll can be removed. The government claims that once the Aadhaar linkage with the voter ID is achieved, the electoral roll data system will instantly alert the existence of previous registrations whenever a person applies for new registration, since Aadhaar requires biometric verification, which cannot be replicated. The other reason that the government gives behind the decision is to make voting rights portable, especially for Indians living outside the country and migrant workers. In theory, linking the two databases will allow the Election Commission to track migrant workers and several others and enable them to vote from where they work. A change in residence updated on their Aadhaar card will directly update the electoral database as well. But how can one link their Aadhaar and voter ID? So here is a step-by-step process on how to link Aadhaar with voter ID online. You need to first visit the Election Commission website, that is voterportal.eci.gov.in. You need to log into the portal. You will be required to provide your state, district and other personal details like your name, date of birth and father's name. You need to then click on the search button. If entered correctly, your details will match government's database and will be displayed on the screen. You then need to click Feed Aadhaar Number option on the left side of the screen, after which a pop-up page will appear. You will be asked to fill in the names that appear on your Aadhaar card, Aadhaar number, voter ID number, registered mobile number or registered email address. You need to hit the submit button and now a message will appear on the screen stating that the application has been registered successfully. Well, this bill was passed despite protests by the opposition members who demanded that it be referred to a parliamentary panel. But why are some leaders against the move? Some leaders point out that Aadhaar was always meant to be a proof of residence and not a proof of citizenship. If the election officers are asking for an Aadhaar card from the voter, all they'll get is a document that reflects residence. There are several concerns about the proposal. These include privacy concerns and the possibility of voter manipulation, since large amounts of personal data linked to Aadhaar will now be linked to the Election Commission's voter database. Opposition says that furnishing Aadhaar may become voluntary only in theory, turning it into a compulsory proof of citizenship. Many predict that the government will inevitably impose penalties on voters who do not give their Aadhaar because it does not specify the right to refuse. Also, the government has not specified what alternative IDs it will accept or may make the procedure for accepting such IDs far more tedious.